Secretary, read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 419 by Senators Orrock of the 36th, Thompson of the 5th, Hooks of the 14th, Miller of the 40th, Harbison of the 15th, and others. A resolution recognizing and commending the Model United Nations and Model Arab League programs of Georgia State University and their coach, Dr. Rashid Naim, and for other purposes. Whereas Georgia State University Model United Nations and Model Arab League programs have been recognized as the competitive standard in regional and national diplomatic simulation since their founding 7 years ago. And whereas a recipient of the International Studies Education Excellence Award from Georgia State University, Dr. Rashid Naim has served as the faculty advisor for the school's award-winning Model United Nations and Model Arab League team since 2004. And whereas the Georgia State University Model UN teams compete in the Southern Regional Model United Nations Conference and the National Model United Nations Conference, having won the Outstanding Delegation Award at Nationals for the past 4 years and 5 consecutive Honorable Mention Awards at Regionals. And whereas prior to joining Georgia State University, Dr. Naim taught at Oxford University, the University of Illinois, the University of California at Santa Cruz, and Union College. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Georgia State University's Model United Nations and Model Arab League programs for their formidable and consistent competitive records, as well as their instructor, Dr. Rashid Naim, for his sacrifice, foresight, accomplishment, and contributions on behalf of education in Georgia, and for the positive influence he has and will continue to have upon the lives and futures of countless young people in this state.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. To recognize this outstanding professor and these outstanding students from Georgia State, we call on the senator from the 36th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm so happy to present our guests today. We're joined on the podium representatives from Georgia State University's Model United Nations and Model Arab League teams, as well as their professor, their counselor and coach, Dr. Rashid Naim, who is the founder and the organizer and the coach of these students. As we've seen during these recent months and weeks, diplomats are still relevant in the world, and these students should be commended not only for their outstanding competitive record while representing the state of Georgia in model events, but also for being consummate examples of what the United States government will need in its foreign service in the years to come. So I'd like to ask the students from Georgia State from these two programs in the gallery who've been able to take time away from your classes to join us to please stand and be recognized. Georgia State's Model Arab League team is fresh, coming off of winning another Outstanding Delegation Award, the top 5% of all teams that competed at the regionals. Both teams are still gearing up for the national model competitions that take place in Washington and New York. These students practice 5 hours a week in class and 4 hours on the weekend in mock competition, and also do individual research on international issues, ranging from the use of force in Libya to long-term preparation for regional water crises. So the intellectual workforce for the decades to come here in Georgia, our region, and our nation. It's important to recognize that this Georgia State team's success wouldn't have been possible without the guidance of the sponsor and teacher, Dr. Naim, who is a senior lecturer and director of undergraduate studies at Georgia State and who we recognize today. He brings his passion and his keen intellect to this work with his students, whether describing the complicated political landscape of other nations or how faith interacts with the ballot box. This educator tackles the tough issues that our young people need to know about to thrive in this increasingly nuanced global economy. And as a coach, Dr. Naim understands the importance of his students taking charge during competition, providing them his intellectual guidance and his experience, but letting them achieve the team's goals and the individual diplomatic victories with their own strength, and they have made us all proud with their performance. So I'd like to ask we're going to hear from both Dr. Naim as well as from the Model UN Vice President, who's going to speak for the students, Jamie Stewart. But please join me, and we will also be, you'll recognize some familiar faces behind me. Dr. Bill Thomas, who has shepherded our intern program from Georgia State just masterfully over the years. Dr. Thomas, we applaud your work. And many young people have followed very productive life paths under his tutelage, and they've been an invaluable help to us down here. Brett Zupan, Solomon Hussein, and Jason Brooks are here from Georgia State Student Body and the intern program today. So without further ado, let me ask Dr. Rashid Naim to come forward. Doctor?
Well, thank you, everybody, for all that you all do and for recognizing our team. The resolution talks a little too much about me. This wouldn't be possible without the teams. We get some of, I think, the best and the brightest that Georgia has to offer at Georgia State. And I think they enjoy what we do. They learn a lot of skills that you all are already familiar with, writing resolutions, knowing how to form caucuses, getting things done in time, and learning speaking skills and so on. And it's a real pleasure to teach them because they keep me young. As you can see, I'm getting old, but they keep me young. So I would just say that none of this would be possible if it had not been for the wonderful students that we get at Georgia State. Thank you.
Thank you. The Model UN Vice President Jamie Stewart will join us with remarks.
Thank you very much for granting me the privilege to speak before you today. On behalf of the Georgia State University Model UN and Model Arab League teams, we're humbled to receive such recognition. However, none of our efforts would be possible without our faculty advisor, Dr. Naeem. His immense knowledge on the subject, his passion for the continuing excellence of these teams is what drives us to our success. So having said that, we are thrilled to have the opportunity to thank him publicly in a setting such as this. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.